Lucius Seneca, on Providence. Why bad things happen to good people. Complete summary. Lucius Seneca's book on Providence, or Why Bad Things Happen to Good People Despite the Existence of Providence, explores this important question. The author addresses Lucilius, who asks Seneca why bad things happen to good people. Seneca responds by stating that God is involved in us and will answer the question as a defender of the gods. Here is his response. Things generated by chance move chaotically and collide with one another. The heavenly bodies are not created by random impulses, and their movement is not chaotic. Everything on earth is subject to an eternal law. The order of the heavenly bodies does not come from disorderly matter. Everything that happens on earth and in the sky has a cause, even if we do not yet know it. But you do not doubt providence. You simply complain about it. I will reconcile you with the gods because for the best of people, they are the best of gods. Good people and good gods are born of the same virtue. Good cannot harm good. A good person differs from God only in time. He is a descendant whom a stern parent raises firmly and harshly. He is an imitator, a student of God. So, when you see a good person suffering, facing trials, and experiencing difficulties in life while a bad person revels in other joys, remember that we want to see our children humble. God prepares a good person for himself, testing and tempering them. In truth, nothing bad can happen to a good person. Just as seawater does not become less salty no matter how much rain falls into it, a good person, no matter what happens, is stronger than all that is bad and transforms everything around them into good. I do not claim that a good person does not feel burdens simply because they overcome them. For a good person, troubles are like training for an athlete. Virtue withers without an opponent. Only in the struggle with an adversary can its worth and capabilities be revealed. A great person should not fear harsh trials or complain about fate. They accept everything that happens as good or turn it to their advantage. What matters is not what happens, but how you endure it. In earthly life, paternal and maternal love is different. Fathers are harsh with their children, while mothers strive to protect them from all that is bad. God treats a good person like a father. God gives good people trials so that, by overcoming them, they gain great strength. Those who have known only cloudless happiness will fall at the first blow. But those who have constantly battled misfortunes, whose skin has toughened from the blows of fate, will stand firm in any struggle. And if they fall, they will fight on even on their knees. So do not be surprised that God, loving good people, gives them a destiny in which they practice their virtue. It is even possible that the gods find it interesting to watch a great person struggle against a great calamity, just as a person enjoys watching a strong young man about to face a lion. The spectacle is all the more enjoyable the nobler the hero. However, such desires are unworthy of the gods. There is only one spectacle worthy of the gods' attention: the struggle of a great person against their fate, especially when they challenge it themselves. The souls of great people, dying glorious deaths, are snatched from the hands of death by the gods so they can witness the spectacle once more. Taking a step toward death again requires much greater presence of mind than the first. Death illuminates those whose spirits are praised, even in the face of fear. Now I will prove to you that not all that seems evil is truly so. Difficulties and twists of fate are not considered evils by those who experience them, especially when viewed through the eyes of the gods, who care more for the fate of humanity as a whole than for that of any single individual. Those who face a heavy fate accept it willingly, and if they refuse to accept it, they deserve such a fate. Next, I will show you that this happens to good people by the will of fate, and according to the same law that defines them as good people. Finally, I will try to convince you never to pity a great person. What evokes fear and trepidation in us is beneficial to those who face it. Some troubles benefit those who endure them, much like how one may need to amputate a limb to save a life. In the same way, those things that everyone praises and strives for often harm those who indulge in them, such as gluttony, drunkenness, and other destructive pleasures. As Demetrius said, there is no creature more unfortunate in life than one who has never encountered an obstacle. This means they have never tested themselves. Let everything they wished for come true, even before they wished for it. Still, the gods have given them a poor sentence. The gods deemed them unworthy of a contest with fortune and a possible victory over her. And fortune always flees from the coward. Fortune seeks equals and scorns the others. A victory without risk is a victory without glory. Fortune will test the strong with fire, poverty, exile, torture, poison, and death. Only cruel fate reveals great examples to us. The greater the suffering, the greater the glory. Still, vices have not yet completely overtaken humankind for us to doubt whom most people would prefer to be born, as if given a choice of fate. Success may come to both plebeians and the talentless, but to endure horrors and subjugate misfortunes is the fate of a great person. To always be happy and to have no scratches on the soul means to miss out on half the nature of things. For self-discovery, trials are necessary. Great people sometimes find joy in misfortune, like brave warriors in war. The gods give challenges and opportunities for heroic deeds to those they want to see achieve the highest honor. I've heard you comfort others, but I need to hear how you comfort yourself, how you forbid yourself to grieve. Don't fear what the immortal gods use to stir our spirits. The truly unfortunate are those whom an excess of happiness has turned into the complacent, who rest in idleness like a ship caught in a calm. Whatever happens to them will catch them by surprise. In harsh circumstances, the inexperienced suffer the most. For a delicate neck, the yoke is an unbearable burden. Know this: those whom the gods recognize, whom they love, and with whom they are pleased, they temper, endlessly testing them and forcing them to work tirelessly. Those whom they appear to treat with kindness and mercy are left soft and defenseless in the face of impending troubles. For if you think that someone can completely escape them, you are mistaken. Even the eternal favorite of fortune will eventually face their share of suffering. In fact, everyone who seems to have avoided evil simply has not encountered it yet. Those great individuals who endure life's trials should know that the gods deem them worthy and have decided to test the endurance of human nature in them. Flee from joy and happiness that drain our strength. Otherwise, your souls will soften, and if nothing reminds them of our common fate, they will fall asleep forever, like the drunken. Everything that goes beyond measure is harmful, but the most terrible is excessive happiness. It stirs restless agitation in the mind and empty dreams in the soul, erasing the boundaries between truth and falsehood. People die quietly and peacefully from hunger, but they burst with a loud crash from gluttony. The gods deal with humans as teachers do with students. They demand more work from those who show great promise. Proof of virtue cannot be gentle. Trials are not cruelty, they are a competition. The more we engage in it, the stronger we become. A habit of facing danger will give us contempt for it. The strongest parts of the human body are those that are used and trained most often. By patiently enduring hardships, the soul reaches a point where it begins to perceive them as completely insignificant. Look at the tribes that build no homes, living off hunting, constantly moving from place to place. Do they seem unhappy to you? There can be no misery where custom has returned people to nature. Actions originally driven by necessity gradually turn into pleasure. A tree grows strong and sturdy only where it is constantly shaken by gusts of wind. True good is something that belongs only to good people, while true evil is the lot of the scoundrels. What better way could the gods show us the shamefulness of our desires than by taking them away from the best people and giving them to the most shameless rogues? That's why money can be found not only in churches but also in brothels. Great people do not have to be dragged along by fate. They follow it willingly. And if they knew how to overtake it, they would do that too. You cannot take something from someone who does not try to hold on to it. I endure nothing against my will. I am not a servant of the gods, but their follower. Moreover, I know that everything in the world happens according to a firmly established law. Each of us is guided by fate, and from the very first moment of birth, it is determined how long each of us has to live. One cause leads to another. A long chain of events defines any occurrence, both in private and public life. We must bravely endure everything that happens, for what we consider coincidence actually happens according to the laws of fate. It is predetermined what you will rejoice in or weep over. We acquire things doomed to perish, and we ourselves are already condemned. Let us remember with courage and satisfaction that it is not our possessions that perish. What is ours is always with us. A good person surrenders to fate. It is a great comfort to know that you are being swept along with the entire universe. We do not know who governs our life and death, but we know that the same force also governs the gods. The same irreversible movement draws both gods and humans along. The very creator and ruler of the universe, who wrote the laws of fate, abides by them. Once having issued a decree, he now obeys it forever. A master has no power to change the very essence of matter. He can only give it a certain shape. There are things that cannot be separated from each other. They only meet together, inseparably. Gold is tested in fire, and great people are tested in hardship. Look at how high virtue must rise, and you will understand that its path cannot be safe. Seeking safe paths is the work of a sloth and a coward. Virtue strives upward. God gives great people trials to teach others patience, for they are born to be examples and lessons. All the goodness of great people is placed within themselves. Their happiness lies in not needing happiness. Despise poverty. No one can be as poor in life as they were at birth. Despise pain. It will either leave you or you will leave it. Despise death. It is either an end or a transition to something else. Despise fortune. She has no tools to strike the spirit of a great person. There is nothing that can force you to act against your will. If you don't want to fight, you can run. Death is the most accessible thing created by the gods for humans. If you seek personal growth and want to draw inspiration from literature, subscribe to my book summary channel. On my channel, you'll find plenty of valuable ideas and practical advice for development in both personal and professional life. Let's grow together.